Welcome back to Night Child Reviews, where the only thing that beats a horny pony is a horny toad. Today, and it doesn't get any bigger than this, is Battle of the Albums. We are battling 1999 versus Purple Rain. I mean, two iconic albums. Where do you even begin? Let's do this. So in the red corner, 1999, the superb album that really launched Prince into the public's awareness. And Purple Rain. Purple Rain's like the sun. It's almost too big to look at. It defines everything that Prince did. So, let's go for it. Let's begin with 1999. Now, point one. I'm going to give 5 points for each album. An argument for the album. Point one for 1999. Scott Woods, the amazing writer who's written about Prince extensively, called 1999 the most Prince album there is. And I totally get what he means. This is pure Prince. In a sense, he just became so much more confident, so much more idiosyncratic, so unique, incredibly unique. And he just defined the Minneapolis sound with this album. This album really set the blueprint in many ways for a great deal of what was to come from Prince. And I think 1999 really bust genres, it bust expectations. And it is just an extraordinary piece of work. So I would argue, the first argument is that this is a stunningly unique album, and it is, if you want to know Prince, I would argue 1999 is the album you go to. There are other phenomenal albums, but 1999, really, no one sounds like this. The second argument I would make is that Prince was unleashed. He was unleashed, first of all, in the sense of how long the songs were. He could stretch his legs, he could extend jams, he could really let the songs breathe in a way that perhaps he hadn't always done. He had done in some senses in controversy, but I think 1999 he really went full out, double album, big risk for Warner Brothers, and he really wanted to let these tracks breathe, to extend. And when I say it's unleashed, I mean about also this sexual passion, the sexual torment of Lady Cab Driver with the erotic and kind of, almost disturbing screams and sexual play with Jill Jones. You've got the absolute erotic torment as well, and sadomasochism of Automatic, including the video, which is just really hellish in a brilliant way. It's so dark and spiraling, and it really encapsulates Prince's mind. You've got Let's Pretend We're Married, just forthright, explicit, pure Prince, just putting it out there years before he would do Sexy MF or Get Off. This was Prince just reveling in his sexuality. So I would argue those are the two first points. The third point I would make is it really defined 1999, this pre-millennial angst, as they call it, this apocalyptic obsession, this idea of a new world. And bearing in mind this is 1982, 17 years before 1999, what would the new millennium bring? What would happen to humanity? There were all these things about, would computers stop working? What would life be like then? And Prince really wrote about this tension, this kind of existential idea that if the world was exploding, whatever, just party and dance your life away and enjoy the moment and enjoy what you have, because we don't know the future. And just this idea of just party your life away and enjoy this unique human moment. So I think it really encapsulated a very futuristic sound for Prince and something he would return to. But I think here it's never been defined better in the song 1999, which just is futuristic perfection. The fourth point I would argue is what I call the sultry loin-stroking greatness of Little Red Corvette. Little Red Corvette in many ways encapsulated Prince in the American mind and the British mind. But I think in America with Corvette, it really struck home. It became one of those classics that people talk about when he dove into the American psyche. And this idea of a lover being too fast, of the refrain of slow down, and it's just sultry, and the drums are just pure divine sexiness. They are just soft and padded and yearning and groaning, and it's just, Little Red Corvette became an iconic Prince song, and it really launched him very much onto MTV. And I think that it's just one of those songs that never lost its vibe, and even when he reinterpreted it later in his career and had the slow down refrain, it just worked. He just perfected that, and I think it's an iconic song, and I don't think Prince would be Prince without that amazing track. I would also say, finally, that the last argument for 1999 is that he experimented. Now, in a way, this was a album that really, you think of the hits, you think of 1999, you think of Little Red Corvette, but actually, he really did some incredible experimentation there. The Avant Purple, if you like. You think of songs like Something in the Water, which he brought back, and I was so happy he brought that back in about 2014. But Something in the Water is so out there, so experimental, so almost to the point where some of the songs Prince comes up with, you think of like There's Others Here With Us and Something in the Water, it comes from a different place, it comes from a different level of consciousness, it comes from some creative force that taps into something that's almost otherworldly, and I think Something in the Water does that. I think All the Critics Love You in New York, again, has that kind of staccato drum program that really works, and just some incredibly left field and unusual and inspired and creative. I mean, he was taking risks here. He was taking risks. Yes, he had the hits, and yes, they were phenomenal, but the experimentation on this album, I think, as an artist, not only wanting to prove something, but also just totally free in his creativity and his confidence that what he was doing was just superb, and it really worked. Anyway, on to a small matter of Purple Rain. Purple Rain. You can't think of Prince without thinking of Purple Rain. I mean, where do you begin? 5 reasons for Purple Rain. 1, I believe, hands down, it's the greatest existential song Prince ever wrote in Let's Go Crazy. I've written about Let's Go Crazy before. I think the idea of fighting against the elevator, the idea of God versus Satan, the idea of, just the idea that, if we're going to die, what's it all for? And better live now before the Grim Reaper comes knocking on your door. And this idea of existential despair. We don't know what we're here. We don't know what it's for. Let's party. Let's enjoy it. You've got that church sermon opening chords, Dearly Beloved. I mean, Dearly Beloved, 2 words, and already you say Dearly Beloved, and an entire generation just lights up. It's Prince. You've got that screaming, blazing, soulful, just career-defining guitar solo at the end. It's just a perfect song, and what an opening to an album. I mean, you could argue, I think very strongly, that these 2 albums, both 1999 and Let's Go Crazy, are 2 of the greatest opening songs ever. The second reason for Purple Rain is, I think, Purple Rain became just a song that really defined Prince in the public mind. Whenever you hear somebody talk about Prince, they talk about Purple Rain. Now, sometimes, yes, that might get on the nerves a little bit because you think there's so much more, he's so much more. But Purple Rain, it's better to have a Purple Rain than not have a Purple Rain. And everybody knows about Purple Rain. Everybody loves Purple Rain. They think of purple when they think of Prince. He's got his own colour. And sometimes you listen to Purple Rain and it just catches you. It catches you unaware, and it can bring emotions, and it can make you sob. I've been in places where it's performed and it just hits your heart at the right moment, and it's just those mournful strings at the end, the honesty, the fact that it comes in the album and the movie at the end of this sort of cathartic epiphany. It just hits your heart, and there's something about those opening chords that will never be repeated by anyone. So I think, you know, we can become blasé to how genius Purple Rain is, but if it hits you at the right moment, it is one of the greatest songs recorded by anyone, anywhere. Reason number 3. This is a bit of a weird reason, but it's not just about the album, but the album allowed Prince effectively to build Paisley Park. I mean, it was the success that gave him the money and gave him the status to build Paisley Park, and therefore everything that followed. People complain about Purple Rain and say, well, that people are obsessed by Purple Rain, but without Purple Rain, I'm not saying Prince would have stopped, or you know, he would have created great music, but I think it gave him Paisley Park. It allowed Prince to do the things he did afterwards, because he had that security of the Purple Rain money, if you like, the purple pie, and he had that money, which meant that at that point, he never probably needed to work another day in his life. Obviously he would, because he's Prince. But it gave him that freedom to know that no project was make or break. No project was that. He had that security, he had purple money, which built Paisley Park, and he could record there, and that made such an impact to the way he worked. I think, you know, having that studio, having his own place, being in Minneapolis, that defined Prince and allowed his creativity. So Purple Rain always really just, you know, is so crucial to Prince's career. There was a time when Prince performed Nothing Compares to You, and he jokingly introduced it as Sinead O'Connor's song, and the audience went, no, it's your song. And Prince said, hey, don't boo. That song bought me a house. And I feel like that about Purple Rain. Purple Rain bought Paisley Park. Reason number 4, the stunning, screaming, let it all out passion of The Beautiful Ones. It is the iconic Prince ballad, and I think it set the kind of framework for a lot of Prince ballads after that. I think he was very close to getting to this perfection with Do Me Baby. Do Me Baby on controversy, but I think The Beautiful Ones, the passion, he just lets it out. It's gospel. It's, who cares what the world thinks? I am passionately in love with this woman, and I don't care. You know, I need to know, is it him or is it me? And he's just on the floor screaming, wailing from his heart. It's just heart-wrenching. It's soulful. It's, like I said, it's just absolute twisted passion, in a sense of it's just wrecked by it. It's absolute gospel. It's just an incredible song, a very hard song for anyone else to sing. It's impossible, I think, to anybody to really do it justice. But also, I love the way it just starts off so beautifully, so sedate, such a beautiful, delicate falsetto, and by the end, Prince is just screaming, just giving it his all. He held nothing back. Finally, When Doves Cry. When Doves Cry for me is such an important Prince song, because first of all, it's one of the most brutal exploration of family dynamics in a pop song. Prince does this where he has a song and people don't realise the depth to it. You think of Pop Life, for example, is a good example, but with When Doves Cry, talking about the family dynamic with his father and his mother who's never satisfied. His father's too bold. Why do they scream at each other? You know, and this idea of how could he be left alone in a world so cold? How could he be just left here on earth, just feeling abandoned? But then he also has this love affair and all these things going on, and it's just this open thing of trying to work out who you are. You look at your mum, you look at your dad, you look at their dynamic, you look at you, and it's such a psychological, it's like a therapy. And yet here it is in this pop song, which is incredible, no bass. It is the archetype template of the iconic Minneapolis funk minimalism. You know, he stripped everything out and the space is where the funk is, and Prince was so right. And it's just this incredible juxtaposition of this heavy, serious, topic. You've got these screams, you've got this incredible drum programming, you've got Love Affair, you've got everything. At the start of it just brings something to my heart, but it's just, no one will ever match that. Prince was brilliant at making genius things look simple. And that is the art of genius, to make incredibly difficult things look simple. And that is my last argument for Purple Rain. It's just an extraordinary song. So anyway, the most important thing is, what do you think? 1999 or Purple Rain? Can I just say, the truth is, the winner really is us, because we got both albums, and we got both albums in a very short period of time, and these albums will remain iconic for generations to come. Thank you. See you soon.